The beginning of every NBA season always comes with a few surprises that turn heads and make people rethink the way they viewed certain things before the year began. Rapid growth and improvement happens all the time, and when that's the case, we as fans and analysts must all adjust accordingly. But on the flip side, sometimes these bouts of surprising improvements end up being a fluke and the players and teams revert back to their old ways, which is what we're here to determine in today's video. Today we'll be taking a look at the 4 most surprisingly good teams through 1 month of play, and we'll be determining whether they are actually worthy contenders or if they're going to end up proving to be pretenders in the long run. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first surprising team up is the Golden State Warriors, and they definitely land in the contender category. Every time the Warriors seem down for the count, they always manage to retool and make it back to the top in the most improbable ways. In 2020 and in 2021, they missed the playoffs altogether. Then, when everyone assumed that their run was over, they came back in 2022 and won the title. Last year, the Warriors once again missed the playoffs. The masses, myself included, believed their time on top was over. They even allowed longtime running mate of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, to leave in free agency, and yet here they are, back at the top of the standings, in second place in the Western Conference, 1 game back of the Oklahoma City Thunder. The stretch that really got me bought in on them being back was the first 6 games of the season, when Steph Curry wasn't even playing well at all in the first 3 games. He then suffered an injury that forced him to miss the next 3 games, and yet the team still went 5-1, including going 3-0 in the games without Curry, showing that they're deep enough to withstand a setback like that. Buddy Hield has been an amazing addition to the team this year, starting the season shooting lights out, and while Hield is notoriously streaky and has fallen off a bit over the last few weeks, the team can withstand his streakiness thanks to their depth, and then capitalize on his hot streaks. The 3 best games that Steph Curry has played this season also happened to come in the team's 3 biggest matchups of the year so far, scoring 27 points in a win against defending champion Boston Celtics, scoring 36 points in a win against the top-seeded Thunder, and scoring 37 points in a win against the Dallas Mavericks, who went to the finals last year. At this stage, Curry is becoming someone who capably coasts a bit, but consistently shows up when the lights are brightest, and if that's the case, then the Warriors need to be taken seriously. The Warriors are one of just 3 teams to be ranked in the top 10 of the league, both offensively and defensively, playing great basketball on both ends, they're deep, and they have a proven champion leading the way, so of course they're for real. The next team up is the Los Angeles Clippers, and unfortunately they fall into the pretender category. The Clippers offseason saw them lose Paul George to free agency. They then got news that Kawhi Leonard was still not close to being back to play at the start of the season, and as a result, the general consensus to them coming in was that they were about to fall off pretty hard after consistent playoff appearances year in and year out prior. Instead, they've been one of the biggest pleasant surprises, staying afloat early on with a record of 11-8, good for 6th place in the West, ahead of teams like the Suns, Nuggets, Mavericks, and Timberwolves, who most viewed as legit contenders a month ago. The most surprising part of it all is that the Clippers' success has been driven by their strong defensive efforts, as they are currently a top 5 defense in the league, and new additions such as Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, Nico Batum, and Kai Jones have all contributed to the defensive rise. The reason why I'm still hesitant to fully buy into them though is that they just don't have nearly enough reliable offensive firepower to maintain this level of play all year long. James Harden started the year pretty hot, leading the league in assists through the first few weeks, while scoring over 20 points per game, but now he's starting to cool off a bit in that regard, and he's shooting just 37% from the field and 32% from 3. Norman Powell has taken a big leap this year and is the team's leading scorer, putting up 23 points per game, but is now dealing with hamstring issues that have held him out of 4 games in a row, with Kawhi Leonard's future being a genuine mystery as well, banking on him coming in and fixing their offensive struggles titles is a big ask as well. The Clippers are the 22nd ranked offense in the league so far, and it's tough for me to believe that their defense can continue carrying them the way that it has over the course of a full 82-game season. The next team up is the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they get the contender label today. The Cavaliers didn't really enter the year with much buzz about them at all because their game plan this summer was essentially to run it back with the same crew that they've had. This didn't really inspire much confidence from the masses, as they had been a group that had only won one playoff series together, but internally they clearly believed in the potential for internal growth, and that belief is paying off big time right now. The Cavaliers have the best record in the NBA to start the season at 17-1, and their only loss was a nail-biter 3-point loss to the defending champion Boston Celtics, and they're looking dangerous on a nightly basis. It all starts with Darius Garland returning to his prior All-Star form, looking more confident than he ever has since the arrival of Donovan Mitchell, scoring incredibly efficiently while running the offense masterfully. Donovan Mitchell is not forcing things as much as he used to and is trusting the guys around him more. Evan Mobley is scoring a career-high 18 points per game, and then their bench unit has been lethal, with Ty Jerome breaking out as a legitimate 6th Man of the Year candidate, leading the NBA in 3-point percentage. The biggest hurdle they've gotten over is that Garland and Mitchell genuinely seem to be on the same wavelength for the first time as a partnership, and with them both playing their best basketball together, they can finally take the leap that they're already in the midst of taking. They have the dominant defense, they have the depth, and now they also have the #1 ranked offense in the league to add on to it, so every box you want checked from a contender, they are checking. And finally, the last team we'll be discussing today is the Houston Rockets, and they unfortunately fall into the pretender category. The Rockets haven't made the playoffs since the bubble season back in 2020, and since then have been in a constant state of rebuild. Last year they hired new head coach Ime Udoka, and his presence absolutely helped get them back on track, headed in the right direction as they finished the year 500 with a record of 41-41, but unfortunately just missed the play-in tournament cut. This time last year, the Rockets had also gotten off to a hot start, looking like a team that would flirt with the playoffs, before they fell off a bit and eventually finishing in 11th place in the conference, so now they're sitting in 3rd place in the West at the moment, looking stronger than ever, and they're forcing people to take them seriously. I'm not here to say that they shouldn't be taken seriously, and the playoffs are definitely within reach for them, but for a few obvious reasons, I can't put all of my faith remaining in them being in that top tier yet. For one, they lack the top-tier star power that other contenders around them have, and the NBA has always been a star-driven league. They don't have a single player averaging above 20 points per game, which scares me for sure. They're easily one of the deepest teams in the NBA, with their bench unit possibly being as good as anybody's, though. The emergence of Tari Eason and Amen Thompson on both sides of the ball have been abusing opposing second units. They're the 2nd best defensive team in the NBA at the moment, and they bring a level of toughness to every matchup that you love to see from a squad on the rise. But when it comes down to it, in a 7-game series, I still don't think they would advance past the first round of the playoffs without an elite #1 option, which they are missing. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these teams moving forward. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.